Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take the research you, our learner, provide, and well, we figure out what really matters. And you've given us sources looking at the very latest in high-performance tablets. Specifically, we're diving into the 13-inch Apple iPad Pro, the M5 version, 256 gigs of storage. And the big question, it seems, from the reviews is this really the pinnacle of tablet design and performance, or is that just marketing speak?
Right. That's the core question. I mean, the sources definitely paint a picture, don't they? They talk about this mix of serious power, versatility, style. It's positioned for creatives, for professionals, but also, high-end general users. So our job today is to really unpack the features that supposedly make this thing future-ready, see if it holds up.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the immediate impression. The look and feel, the display. The sources really focus on that space black finish. It sounds very sleek, professional,
Yeah.
durable even, but also surprisingly light for a 13-inch device.
Yeah, the weight is mentioned quite a bit. But functionally, it's all about that screen, isn't it? The Ultra Retina XDR display. And what's really interesting there for you, the learner, is the tech behind it. It's called tandem OLED. Basically, you've got two OLED layers stacked together. This helps solve that old OLED problem of, not being quite bright enough sometimes, especially outdoors for pro work. So you get these incredibly vibrant, true-to-life colors, really deep blacks, and crucially, sustained high brightness.
Right, tandem OLED. So that's the key difference from, say, older models or mini LED, that double layer.
Exactly. To step up, it means professionals doing color-critical work like grading video or complex photo editing, they get the accuracy they need.
Okay, makes sense. And the size itself, 13 inches. The sources seem to suggest that size is actually a core feature for productivity.
It really is. It moves it beyond just watching movies. Right. You have enough screen real estate to genuinely multitask, like split the screen comfortably between two pretty demanding apps, or, sketching with the Apple Pencil without feeling cramped. It starts to feel like a proper digital canvas. And driving a display that large and advanced that needs some serious horsepower. Which brings us to the engine, the M5 chip. This seems to be where the sources say it earns that pinnacle description. Yeah, the M5. It's a significant leap according to the analysis. The sources aren't just saying it's faster. They're pointing to specific improvements in the GPU architecture.
Yeah.
It seems to be much more efficient, especially with complex rendering. So one benchmark mentioned, I think it was a 30% faster render time in a specific 3D modeling app compared to the M4. That seamlessness everyone talks about, it comes from handling things like real-time ray tracing in games or professional visualization tools, stuff that used to need a dedicated desktop graphics card.
Ray tracing on a tablet. Wow. Okay, that is a big deal for certain workflows. That really grounds the performance claims. But power isn't everything if you can't connect quickly, right? The sources also highlight the connectivity as being future-ready. We're talking Wi-Fi 7 and also something called the Apple N1 chip.
Right, and that combination is important. It's easy to just see Wi-Fi 7 and think faster speeds,
Okay.
which is true. But the sources suggest the N1 chip is like a dedicated coprocessor just for networking. It manages the connection much more actively. Pair that with Wi-Fi 7's ability to use multiple bands at once. That's called multi-link operation, or MLO. The result, apparently, is much lower latency, more stable connections.
Okay, so lower latency, more stability.
Yeah.
How does that actually help the user?
Well, think about real-world use. If you're collaborating live on a complex cloud document or maybe streaming huge design assets while you're, on a train, that stability and speed are vital. Combine that with the all-day battery life reviewers seem to agree on. And it really starts to feel like a device you can genuinely work on from anywhere, reliably.
Okay, so powerful chip, fast connection. Let's shift to the creative tools built in. Cameras, AR capabilities, things pros might actually use. The specs mention a 12MP front camera and a 12MP back camera, which honestly sounds a bit low these days. Phones have 48MP, 108MP. Did the sources address why 12MP is supposedly enough for a pro device?
That's a fair point, and yeah, the sources do tackle that. They kind of concede that 12MP isn't the headline number anymore. But the argument is that for how you use a tablet, especially the front camera, it's less about raw megapixels for stills, and more about the optics, the processing, and features like center stage for video calls. That wide-angle front camera is apparently really good for keeping you framed well during meetings, even if you move around. Quality and motion matters more there.
Ah, okay. So optimizing for video calls and conferencing rather than high-res photography. That makes more sense for a tablet context. But then there's the LiDAR scanner on the back. That feels more specialized, more pro.
Definitely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the LiDAR is key for serious augmented reality applications. Think of it like a really accurate depth sensor. It maps the space around you very quickly and precisely. So the sources mention architects using it to, say, place a virtual 3D model of furniture in a real room to see how it fits, with pretty remarkable accuracy. Or engineers using it for measurements on site. It pushes AR from being just a gimmick to a practical tool for specific industries. It underscores that professional focus.
So putting it all together, you've got this amazing tandem OLED display, the very powerful M5, fast Wi-Fi 7, LiDAR. The sources suggest that when you pair this hardware with accessories, the pencil, the keyboard, it really can become a versatile workstation.
Yeah, the hardware gets almost universal praise in the sources. It seems genuinely top tier.
Yeah.
But, and this is a big but, we have to look at the criticisms, the drawbacks mentioned. And they nearly always circle back to two things. First, obviously the price. It's very premium, no getting around that, puts it out of reach for many. But the more maybe fundamental issue raised is the operating system, iPad OS.
Right, iPad OS, it keeps getting better, but
Yeah,
still not Mac OS, is it?
exactly. Reviewers point out persistent friction points for pro workflows. File management is one that comes up a lot. It's still seen as a bit clunky, maybe nested too deeply compared to the flexibility of a desktop OS, especially with external drives or lots of different file types, and external display support. It's better than it was, but it's often still mirroring or a limited extension, not that true, flexible, extended desktop experience you get with a laptop. That really hampers complex multitasking for some users.
Yeah, that seems critical. If you have M5 power for, say, heavy video editing, but managing your project files is awkward. That creates a bottleneck, doesn't it? I think one source mentions Stage Manager, Apple's windowing system still feels a bit finicky compared to traditional Windows.
Precisely. It takes more steps, more management than just dragging windows around on a Mac or PC sometimes. And this isn't just a minor inconvenience for the target pro user. It can fundamentally shape their workflow. So the consensus seems to be, yes, it can replace a laptop for many, especially for lighter tasks or tablet-first workflows. But when you hit those really heavy organizational or multitasking demands of a true desktop replacement, iPadOS is often still the limiting factor. Though it's important to add, the reviewers generally frame these as quibbles for the intended audience, not necessarily deal breakers if you know what you're getting into.
So what does this all mean? Let's recap the essence. We've got a truly stunning display with that tandem OLED tech. We have the M5 chip bringing, frankly, incredible power, enabling things like real-time ray tracing. Connectivity is top-notch with Wi-Fi 7 and that N1 chip for stability. And the LiDAR adds genuine pro-level AR capability.
But yeah, this raises an important question for you, the learner, based on everything we've unpacked. The sources make it clear the M5 hardware is phenomenal, potentially years ahead. Yet, iPadOS, the software, still seems to impose some limitations compared to a desktop OS. So the question is, what's the real ceiling for a device like this aiming to replace a laptop completely? Is it ultimately the raw processing power it has? Or is it the operational freedom or lack thereof granted by the operating system?
That tension, yeah. Hardware pushing boundaries, software maybe holding it back slightly. Something definitely worth thinking about. Will the software catch up quickly enough to let that M5 truly fly? We'll have to see. Thanks for diving deep with us today.